Let's use GardenCAD to lay out a site using decimal feet as our base unit. I'll start the drawing by clicking Line, Draw, Line. I'll click on the left of the screen at the top and move in the direction I want to go in. Now, my tracking cursor is operational at the moment. That's the beige indicator under there. And let's imagine this site is some 65.5 units wide, so in other words 65 feet 5 inches across the top. So I type the number and hit the enter key. Now I might come down in this direction, say 150 feet, and you'll notice that I can't quite see the end of the line, so I can use the wheel of the mouse to roll out, hold the wheel down and pan up, and then roll in again. Now I'm going to head in this direction 65 feet 6 inches, so 65.5, and come back up in this direction 150 units. Now I can right click to finish and then right click to zoom extents, and there is the long narrow site showing. Let's imagine the house was some 10 feet off this left hand boundary, so we could select the left hand boundary and then we can say modify, and we could copy and snap or snap to midpoint of that line there, and then just head off in this direction and type 10 for 10 feet. So we have effectively a construction line. Now I inadvertently the enter key there and got an extra line, but I can remove it. And let's imagine that the corner of the house was some 30 feet back. So we could take that line there and right click this time and pick copy, and we need to find the midpoint. Midpoint stays set, but you might have to reset it, and we just type 30. So we have, and then right click to finish. We have a point at the corner there where we can put the footprint of the house down. Just for interest, I'll change my drawing color to red now, and I'll pick the line command again, and I'll start at that intersection. So I go to OSnap and go to intersection so I can find that point, and then I head across here. Let's imagine the house was 40 feet across the front, and if we came down here, it might be 35 feet along that axis, back here, of course, to 40 feet, and back up here again to that intersection. I don't have to type it, the software will find that point. Now we need to put the roof line in to make it look interesting. So we could draw a line from the mid of this point here across to the mid of that line there. Then we could draw a line to get the ridge lines in. We could snap, whoops, I'll just escape out of there. I've set a point inadvertently, so I want to draw a line. I want to snap to an intersection, which would be that intersection. Then I want to go at 45 degrees down here to meet with that line, back down here to meet there, right click to finish that, then repeat line from that corner down there, this time at 45. See how I'm swinging to get my little indicator showing, and then back down through here, and then we can remove that construction line and draw a new line from there across to there, and we can then remove those lines, erase, and there we are. We have the house sitting in its correct position on the block. So we've done some mud map drawings and measured this site. So what we want to do is to do some work in this rear garden area. So that's the start of this little project. At any time we could say information, what's the distance from that point across to there. You can see 65.5, so that's a good way to check. And we could even say information, what's the distance from, and I'll show you a new OSnap, from near. Where are we? Near. Just pick up that line there and then go back perpendicular to, so OSnap perpendicular to the front boundary, and that gives us 30 feet. So we know our house is in its correct position and the correct size. So we're working here in the US imperial system using decimal feet as our unit of measure. So 35.5 is 35 feet 6 inches, 35.25 is 35 feet 3 inches.
I've continued the design here by changing my drawing colour to yellow. I've taken a line from that corner up through here. We'll make this a decking area, and then I've put a circle there, and what we'll have is a raised decking stepping down onto some more decking to get to a ground level. So that gives us some level changes in the design. So let's continue on. If we draw a line now and we snap to a grip, which will give us the quadrant of that circle, we can then draw the centre line of a path that will run down through the centre of the garden here. What we'd then like to do is to offset that centre line to give us the width of a path. So we'll select this line and we'll copy it, and we'll change our snap to the midpoint again and move to the right, making sure our indicator is showing, and we'll get half width of 3 feet. Come and right click to finish, then we'll do exactly the same, select the midpoint of the line again and copy it from its midpoint, head off in the other direction 3 feet. So we've got a 6 foot wide path. We can erase that central line. We don't need that construction line again. And then we can go to modify and extend, and if we zoom in here, we can choose this as a boundary edge and extend those two lines to the circle. Then we can go modify trim, and we can use these two lines as the cutting edge, and we can cut out that zone through there. So we have well, let's do it again. Repeat the trim, use the half circle or part circle as a cutting edge, and remove there. So this will be a raised deck stepping down to a small decked area, stepping down to a path. So we're actually going to need a line, aren't we, from that point there. So we want to be end, snap there. Whoops, I've done it again. I've started a line, inadvertently clicked over there. So let's close the properties box and try that again. Draw a line from that end point to that end point, and we step from our hardwood raised deck down to a lower version of the deck onto some sort of paved path. What we'd now like to do is to create an area here for vegetables and another more interesting and hidden area for adult entertaining. If there was a wind blowing or whatever, north might be in this direction, you could trap some sun in that area. So we use the draw multi-line, and we'll set up a multi-line from there across to there and then down, finish off and repeat the multi-line, and we might come back to give us our vegetable area, which would run through here. And if we go to something like that and then down and enter, as someone is on the deck or down through here and walking, they'll see that blank wall there. We'll have a little gap through here, and our vegetables will be in that area. So I'll go on and finish that design and get it trimmed off the way I would like it. I've now completed the construction elements of the design, and it's time to put the planting in. There is one extra step that you need to take when working in the Imperial environment. Download our zip file of 90 landscape symbols, and just, if you've got WinZip installed, just extract to here and overwrite all the existing U-plant symbols are there. So we'll say yes to all. What that does is the symbols in our plant selector library, which we're going to use in a moment, are all now here, and have all been overwritten with a set that work in the Imperial environment. So now we should be able to go to our library, our plant selector. We should be able to pick a plant such as this one. Let's imagine that there was a tall tree on the site. We can pop it in, or a tree on the site. Its distance is roughly 3 feet in diameter. Select it and scale it to whatever diameter is appropriate. And the same here, we go to the library, the plant selector. Let's pick a more elaborate looking specimen. So we'll go for something like this one here and select it and place it and scale it like so. Whoops, I've still got my O-snap on, but in goes a more elaborate system. If you go to layers, elaborate symbol. If you go to layer order, wrong one, layers and layer order, you might want to play with turning on or off plant symbol layer, that turns the symbol off and on. So there we have it. You can dress your drawing up using a set of symbols that work in the imperial feet, decimal feet environment.